Welcome to battle number 3 of week 4 of the Victory Road Draft League here on FnF server. This battle is going to be pitting Elemental Dragons versus Dutch Inkays, the players being Kingfuse and Quest Requested respectively. As a reminder, the Mega Pokemon we have available are Mega Beedrill and Mega Steelix, both of which we'll be seeing today. The Pokemon with any Z move privilege are Clefable and Azumarill, both of which we can maybe see unleash a Z move. And then the Pokemon with the attack Z move privileges of Salazzle, I believe. Yes, Salazzle and Hydreigon respectively, both won't be making it today. So possibility to see a Z move, and also we'll be seeing Mega Evolutions. For initial thoughts, we have the blue team once again, Kingfuse there, lots of the Pokemon in blue. It's like a blue sandwich with Clefable and Beedrill in the middle. And then on the other side we have Quest Requested. Quest bringing Porygon 2 in. I'm really curious to see what Porygon 2 is going to do. It'll be a good Pokemon to be a bulky switch-in, maybe to some dire situations. I'm guessing it's going to be defensively invested since there's a lot of defensive threats on Kingfuse's team. Kingfuse bringing the classic Kyurem Black, which is a strong wall breaker and certainly has the potential to bulldoze through Quest's team. Quest has Durant. Durant is one that I'm going to be looking for because once it's set up, it could actually take on the majority of the team of Kingfuse. So Durant and Kyurem Black are going to be the Pokemon I'm looking at, as well as Porygon 2. Very curious what it's going to do there. So without any further ado, we can just jump right in. Thinking we might see a lead of Steelix to set up Stealth Rock and maybe a Beedrill lead to set up a Scout with U-turn. Today we are listening to Route 216, one of my favorite themes in all of Pokemon. Really like this theme. Alright, and out comes Vector the Victini and Beedrill, who indeed is probably going to go for a Scout. Ooh, and V-Create takes out Beedrill in one hit. This is probably a Choice Scarfed Victini then, if it's faster than Mega Beedrill. Turn one right off the bat. Nidoqueen comes out. And in comes Porygon 2, Leduc, who copied Sheer Force. So if Porygon 2 has Thunderbolt or Ice Beam or any one of those moves that have secondary effects, this could actually be pretty good for it. In comes Kyurem Black with the Terravolt, taking an Ice Beam, and indeed that Ice Beam is now boosted by Sheer Force. Although it didn't do that much damage, maybe it's not especially attacking invested Porygon 2. Substitute goes up, blocking the Toxic attempt by Leduc. Now Kyurem is free to maybe set up or to try to recover. And indeed, he goes for the recover with Roost. Solid the Iron Snake, Solid Snake. Steelix comes out. Taking a Dragon Claw like a champ, not going to do much damage. And setting up Stealth Rock. Dragon Claw just doing basically chip damage. And the substitute goes away from a Stone Edge. Maybe Kyurem might not want to stick around for this. If Kyurem has Earth Power, it could do damage to Steelix, but I'm doubting that we'll see it. Considering it has Dragon Claw, the other move I'm suspecting might be the electric type move. The name escapes me. Fusion Bolt, I think. And Solid switches into a Gyro Ball, which does pretty big damage, using Earthquake to hit Steelix, getting hit by its own Earthquake, but still fainting, even with the Shuka Berry resisting it. Out comes Nidoqueen to take on this Solid Snake. I think Nidoqueen can do some big damage if it has Earth Power. We might see a Crobat switch in. And Leduc comes out, taking an Earth Power, only dealing 21%. Not really a big damage. I think this is probably a specially invested Porygon 2. Porygon 2 goes for the Toxic, and Roar on Nidoqueen will force Porygon 2 out. Nash the Crobat comes in. Goes for the U-turn. Perhaps Quest doesn't have a Rapid Spinner or a Defogger. Ice Beam hits Dumon the Durant, dealing only a little bit of damage despite Durant's low special defense. It could still take that resisted Ice Beam. Durant's in a good position here to set up. If Nidoqueen lacks Flamethrower, Earth Power might take it down though, so it does have to be careful. Ooh, and out comes Vaporeon, taking an Iron Head pretty easily. Vaporeon actually seems to be a really good Pokemon in this matchup overall. Azumarill being the only Pokemon that can really take a Scald, but even then if it burns, that's very bad for Azumarill. Actually, Porygon 2 could probably take Vaporeon pretty easily too, considering its very high special defense and the fact that it's probably going to pack Recover. And we see Porygon 2 come out. Ooh, and Water Absorb is traced, so that means it could probably take a Scald very easily from Vaporeon. Who will be the wish recipient for Vaporeon? I don't think that Porygon 2, that Vaporeon is going to want to Scald Porygon 2 considering its Water Absorb, although maybe Vaporeon could go for a Toxic. Clefable comes out, and Porygon 2 is able to recover. Clefable is the recipient of that wish. Clefable's Toxic. Moonblast is not going to do much. Clefable takes damage from Toxic, so therefore we know it's not a Magic Guard Clefable, most likely an unaware Clefable. And in comes Vaporeon and Steelix. Steelix walked into a situation it does not want to be in here. But Porygon 2 could come right back out to get a Scald. Vaporeon scouts with Protect. So Kingfuse seems to be aware of the threat of Porygon 2 with Water Absorb and Scald. But Porygon 2 is pretty free to Toxic. Porygon 2 is a really good Pokemon in this matchup, being able to copy Sheer Force, Water Absorb, and even Unaware. In comes Victini. Vaporeon goes for that Heal Bell. Vector is probably here to scout out Scald. Ooh, and Victini goes for Trick. That Choice Scarf probably being the thing that Quest wants to inflict onto Vaporeon. And Trick is successful, giving Vaporeon a Choice Scarf, but now ensuring that Vaporeon is pretty much hard countered by Porygon 2. U-turn is going to allow most likely Porygon 2 to come out. Indeed, it is Porygon 2. Porygon 2 is just going to heal its HP with Water Absorb. And out comes Nidoqueen to take the Toxic. Ice Beam's going to do good damage, but not enough to take out Porygon 2. In comes Steelix, roared in. Porygon 2 coming right back out. Tracing Sheer Force, and it's taking Earth Power. This Porygon 2 is proving to be an unbreakable wall. Porygon 2 will be free to simply recover. I think Nidoqueen's best bet would be to roar again. Kyurem Black actually comes in instead. And that's exactly what Porygon 2 does. Goes for a recover. In comes Steelix, taking a Dragon Claw, which brings it down to 17%. I don't think that's a percent that Kyurem will be able to take Steelix out. In comes Vaporeon, gets hit by the Gyro Ball. Scald could mean that Porygon 2 just comes in and shrugs off any move that Vaporeon throws. Might be better to go for a Wish here. Vaporeon pretty much can Wish, Heal Bell, or Scald. It's not going to want a Toxic, to Protect, because then it's choiced into Protect, which is probably the worst move possible to be choiced into. Out comes Victini. Wish is now up on Vaporeon. Vaporeon has to stay in and get hit by a V-Create. And Vaporeon's Wish comes true. It gets recovered a little bit. In comes Nidoqueen, taking another V-Create. Oh no, a U-turn, sorry. And out comes Porygon 2, tracing that Sheer Force. This time probably free to go for an Ice Beam. Here's Clefable taking the Ice Beam, but it will not want to be hit by Toxic. And the Toxic misses. Clefable is able to protect against Ice Beam. Another Toxic. Look, Clefable starts setting up a Calm Mind. That Toxic damage is going to add up over time, though. comes Vaporeon. And Scald takes out Solid the Mega Steelix, but now Porygon 2 is able to come in and basically do whatever it wants for free because Vaporeon is locked into Scald. And Durant comes out instead of Porygon 2. Here comes Nidoqueen to face Dumon, who is now boosted by Hone Claws. Durant being boosted is not good for Kingfuse, and yep, an Iron Head is going to take out Nidoqueen. I'm wondering why he didn't keep Vaporeon in to Scald Dumon. It would have been faster with the Choice Scarf. Out comes Kyurem, but it's probably going to take an Iron Head and go down if Dumon is able to outspeed. And that's exactly what happens. Iron Head takes down Kyurem as well. Vaporeon is now the one to come out. Ooh, Durant goes for the Stone Edge, outspeeding Vaporeon even with the Choice Scarf attached. Last but not least, we have Clefable, who is unaware, but Iron Head is still enough to take down Clefable, causing Quest Requested to win the battle, a victory for the Dutch Inkays over the Elemental Dragons of 5-0. Good battle from both sides. I noticed the rocks were up and harming Pokemon without any Defog or Rapid Spin users being able to take them away. So it was a slow battle of attrition. Porygon 2 really giving some trouble for Kingfuse. Trace being able to counter a lot of the Pokemon and get a lot of new good abilities. And it was just a matter of getting Durant to be able to set up. Durant being able to plow through after a Hone Claws boost. Well played from both sides though. Really thought out battle and some close calls for sure. So tune in next time for more battles of Week 4. Once again, this is Noel from Mystical Chain commentating, and I'll see you then.